Money FM 89.3, the best of the afternoon update. The afternoon update with Lin Li Fu.
Money FM 89.3. Now, in the last couple of years, C-dramas have definitely been giving K-dramas a run for their money, and it looks like China-made movies are now gaining popularity in Singapore and the region. China's animated blockbuster Ne Zha 2 has shattered box office records, becoming the world's highest-grossing animated film. It has surpassed Inside Out 2 and is the first non-Hollywood production to crack the global all-time top 10 box office chart. Here in Singapore, Ne Zha 2 crossed the $2 million mark to become the highest grossing film here that was produced in mainland China. That's within a few days of its release. The movie grossed $308,000 when it opened and hit the $2 million mark in a few days. The film is a sequel to what was previously China's top-earning animated film in 2019. Well, if you've never heard of Ne Zha, it is a story rooted in 16th century Chinese mythology, but the movie offers a bold reinterpretation. The namesake hero is born an underdog, the reincarnation of a demon who must overcome his fate to save his village. The sequel strikes a similar tone. He goes through new trials, with the film offering lots of thrills and spills. Without further ado, let's find out what's behind its success in Singapore and the rise of China-made films in Southeast Asia. I'm joined by Joyce Lee, Managing Director at Encore Films, the distributor of Ne Zha 2 in Singapore and Southeast Asia. Welcome, Joyce.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Yeah.
Great to have you here. Now, how has Ne Zha 2 performed at the Singapore box office? Is its success here within expectations?
Ne Zha 2's performance is definitely beyond our expectations. It's performing very well right now in Singapore, and we just opened in Malaysia today, and it is doing huge numbers. So we are distributing to 11 countries throughout Southeast Asia, and many of the countries are opening the film this week.
And you're expecting similar success in the other markets as well?
Yes, and then in fact Malaysia is doing much better than Singapore. Singapore was successful, but Malaysia is huge. As we speak right now, I think the box office for half a day stands at about 2 million ringgit.
Wow.
And that's very, very big.
Amazing. How do you think Singaporean audiences responded to Ne Zha 2?
I think the success in China, actually, there were many reports talking about the success in China, and then part one did relatively well in Singapore. And as a result, this time around, the anticipation is very high.
Okay. Do you think that it's to do with the fact that Chinese animated films perhaps are gaining a stronger following in recent years?
Yes, a stronger following because in recent years there are like successes in box office like Hi Mom, No More Bats, Creation of Gods 2. All these have done well in the Chinese box office for Chinese films in Singapore. Yeah. So for Ne Zha 2, it's an animation, and this time around there's a breakthrough in storytelling and the technology. So that kind of like really contributed to the success. And with all the publicity from China, so the awareness is there and people are kind of like looking forward for the film.
Okay. Compared to Hollywood, local and other Asian films, what do you think audiences in Singapore and Southeast Asian markets are looking for in Chinese films?
I think it's the unique storytelling and familiar characters, because Ne Zha 2 is really like a character that we grew up with, when we were a kid. We know there's this character. But this time out in the film, the Ne Zha is kind of like updated with some flaws in the character, with eye bags, and people kind of love it. They find him very cute and funny. Yeah. So I think that is crucial to the success.
Do you think there will be an even bigger appetite for Chinese content?
I think so, because number one, there are more mainland Chinese immigrants into Singapore. And then also there's this interest in Chinese language over the years, and with bigger budgets in China, production budgets, kind of like improve the quality of films.
Okay,
Yeah.
so improved quality, I suppose international distribution and cultural connections. So
Yes.
with Ne Zha 2 setting a strong example, what's next for Chinese films or animated films in this region?
I think it has actually set a very good benchmark and something that has opened the doors for Chinese animation. Because I remember when we distributed the first one in other territories, people were like kind of like a stranger to Chinese animation. So because so far in Southeast Asia, the examples were more like from Hollywood and Japanese animation. So Chinese animation at that time was relatively new. So with part 1, part 2, it became better. And then now with all the success and all the media reporting, I would think that in the near future, if there's any other good Chinese animation, the audience will be more receptive to that.
What do you make of the storytelling techniques by Chinese filmmakers as compared to what we're very used to?
I think this storytelling is very unique. Number one, the pacing of the film is relatively fast. And then there's a bit of comedy, there is family love, there's friendship, there's action sequences. So it's like there's a bit of everything, So people are very fascinated, and with the technology that was engaged and the CGI that's used in the animation, it was really very well done. So that kind of like surprised everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
In your opinion, you're with Encore Films, you're a distributor of films. What are the challenges that Chinese films face when entering the Singaporean market?
Well, I think in the past it's actually a little bit of the language, because the youngsters right now, they are not so conversant in Chinese. And in the past, China Films has relatively young history. Yeah, but with the production budget, it kind of made up for it. So I feel that for Chinese films, it will become more and more popular with the popularity and with the large audience base in China. It kind of like spreads out. For challenges, I think it's still the language-wise. Because we distribute throughout Southeast Asia. So in some countries like Philippines and Indonesia or Thailand, Mandarin is not really a native language there. So it's kind of like treated like a foreign language. So it's still the language, yeah.
Okay. Are there any trends that you can share in terms of the distribution of Chinese animation and films in general in Southeast Asia?
I would think that we would engage a very similar distribution strategy to distribute Chinese animation comparatively with Japanese animation. And in terms of trends, I think we can look forward to more legendary tales or Chinese IPs, because Chinese culture is very rich. So I think the IPs that is in Chinese culture, they would actually adapt it for animation. Intellectual property, like, Wukong, we have different legendary stories.
What are the lessons from Ne Zha 2's success that you think can be applied to future Chinese film releases?
The lessons for Ne Zha 2's success, I think, is really the budget that is used. If you use it compare it to Hollywood budget, it's still relatively low. But in terms of Asian content, the budget is rather high. So with this, and then I think the director has a very unique storytelling, and he did not rush into the production of the film. So he took a long while to make the film. And also the story and the character design. So these are all the factors that contributed to the success.
Okay. And what about Encore? Encore Films, what are your plans? Will there be more Chinese animated films to be released in Singapore that we can look forward to?
Yes, definitely after this release, we will be more receptive to look into distributing more Chinese animation, or in fact more Chinese content, because the other trend that we found out is that throughout the distribution of this movie, the Chinese relatively supportive on the box office. So there are many like repeat visits or, people buying the tickets, for corporate bookings, and all these contributed to the success. So I think this is very positive factor that will encourage us to pick up more Chinese films in future.
Both live action and animated?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
wow, okay.
Right.
Well, it sounds like the Chinese film industry is definitely on the rise in Singapore and Southeast Asia. And Ne Zha 2 is probably just the beginning of an exciting chapter. Thank you so much, Joyce, for your time today.
Thank you so much, Lily.
She is Joyce Lee, Managing Director at Encore Films, the distributor of Ne Zha 2 in Singapore and Southeast Asia.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.